is the 9th video of the economic survey. I am going to cover the entire survey in 11 videos. Take advantage of the double dhamaka offer before the offer goes. Which of the following is not a major component in India's import? Textile is not a major component in import. Understand this. Widening of the current account deficit has been driven by the deterioration of the trade deficit from 6% of GDP to 6.7%. So trade deficit happens because of the difference in the export and import. Rise in crude prices and decline in the growth of the merchandise exports have led to deterioration of this trade deficit. But due to acceleration in the growth of the remittances, India has been number one country in getting the inward remittances. This deterioration has been offsetted. And the good thing is, in funding this current account deficit, total liabilities to GDP ratio, liabilities include both debt liabilities and non-debt liabilities. So this has declined from 43% in 2015 to about 38% at the end of 2018, the liability to GDP ratio. And also the share of the foreign direct investment has risen. That of the net portfolio investment has fallen in total liabilities, thereby reflecting a transition to more stable source of funding current account deficit. The rupee depreciated to 70 to 74 in 1819. Making India's export more competitive. The composition of India's export and import basket has remained unchanged. Petroleum product, precious stone, drug formulation, gold and other precious metal continue to be in the top export item. Crude, petroleum, pearl, precious, semi-precious stone and gold remains as top import items. Among the trading partner, US, China, Hong Kong, UAE and Saudi Arabia are major ones. See the current account balance. Advanced economies, there is a surplus, and emerging and developing countries like India, there is a deficit. As per the World Bank report, India was at which position for receiving remittance in 2018? We know this discussed several times. Net services, transfers and net income. So private transfers, mainly from the people, those who are employed overseas, increased by 12%, and improved income conditions in the Gulf countries with rise in the oil prices might have led to this increased remittance. So after India, China, Mexico, Philippines and Egypt are the country in receiving the remittance. India is at number 1 in receiving the remittance. Which of the following are correct? India's short-term debts are more than long-term debt. We studied a lot about this, that long-term debts are better for the country, and that is what is happening right now. India's foreign exchange reserve at 422 billion as on June 14, 2019 is the second highest in the world. Normally, NER and RER moves in opposite direction. Let's see what is the reality. India is the 8th largest among all the countries in the world after China, Japan, EU, Switzerland, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Taiwan and Hong Kong. These countries have much larger foreign exchange reserve. And see the outstanding external debt. The short-term component is small. I have been discussing this along. And movement in RER and NER, there is no logic that it will be in opposite direction because both are reflecting exchange rate. Therefore, correct answer is none of this is correct. As per WTO, world trade growth has slowed down to 3% in 2018. The growth in the merchandise export fell in 18-19 for India because of the slower growth in world output and trade. And the contribution of net services to financing merchandise trade deficit has fallen from 62% to 43%, reflecting a muted performance of the service export. And net capital flows moderated in April-December 18-19. Despite of high FDI, there were withdrawal in the portfolio investment. India's external debt, 521 billion at the end of December, is 1.6% lower than the March number. Composition of the export and import we discussed, and also about the range of rupee exchange. Question: the share of agriculture, forestry and fishing under GVA, gross value added, in 18-19 was 14.4 is the right answer. This 14.4 is here, and every year it is declining. And of course, in agriculture, forestry and fishing, crops are number 1 contributor, followed by livestock, forestry and logging, and then comes the fishery and aquaculture. Regarding agriculture in India, which of the following is correct? Read it carefully. I am going to the data. See the number of marginal farmer. Marginal farmer means less than 1 hectare of the land. This is increasing because land sizes are getting fragmented. And small farmers, 1 to 2 hectare of the land, is also very high, 17.7%. Large number of large farmers having 4 hectare and more land are about 4% in number. And interesting fact is there are growing number of women farmers. See this data, land holding operated by women. This number is increasing, especially for small and marginal holdings. So the correct answer is B and C are correct. Number of the women farmers have increased. Fertilizer response ratio has been declining over time. This is also correct because with the more use of fertilizer, the soil becomes saturated, the response becomes slow, and the number of small farmers is lesser than the marginal farmers. So this is not correct. Women participation in the agriculture has increased and their concentration is 28% among small and marginal farmers. Around 89% of the groundwater extracted is used for irrigation. Fertilizer response ratio has been declining. Organic and natural farming technique, zero budget natural farming can improve both water use efficiency and soil fertility. Be ready for a question on zero budget natural farming. In ease of doing business, India's performance is lowest in which of the parameter? This is mentioned in the Economic Survey. Enforcing contract, our performance have been poor. See this graph here, India's progress in ease of doing business. Enforcing contract is a weak area and there is hardly any progress there. Know what are these core 8 industries and what is IIP, Index of Industrial Production. Total telephone connection in India 118 crore. The installed capacity of the electricity has increased to 3,56,000 megawatt. Last question, which of the following is correct about service sector in India? It constitutes what percent of GDP and what percentage of growth it has witnessed in 18-19. You have to know these two numbers. The correct answer is 54 and 7.5% growth in 18-19. Service sector is most important contributor to the Indian economy. Only at ixamBee you get live classes with the expert faculty for finance, management, economics, English, quant, reasoning and general awareness. You like the video? Subscribe to the channel, press the bell icon and remember exam है तो ixamBee है.